of the most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and welcome to the Racehour Weekend Preview. This is the show where we run the rule over the weekend's terrestrial TV racing action in association with our sponsors. Big thanks to them. They are Betfred and Gambling.com. And big thanks to our punditry A-team. And it is an A-team as well, because I don't even need to look at my notes for the lady, the legendary broadcaster, not just broadcaster, legendary broadcaster, limbering up in her corner. I spent no less than 14 years with her at Channel 4 Racing. They went by in a heartbeat. Tanya Stevenson, welcome.
Yay, hi Tom. I take the legendary bit out, but yeah, it's great to see you again and great to look through this weekend's racing. There's some really hot stuff out there.
Yeah, there really is, and we're going to dive straight into it, but not before the other two collaborators getting ready in their respective corners of the ring. Gambling.com's very own, and he's a legend as well, Gary Connolly. Gary, good morning.
Hey Tom, how's things?
And also on the line today, I'm very happy to say, we've got a gentleman who knows a thing or two, because not only is he a top tipster, but he's also the man behind the platform, the exceedingly popular Get Your Tips Out. That's Joe Norris. Hi, Joe. Welcome.
How you doing, all right?
All good, Joe. Listen, let's get on, because we've got something in the region of 30 minutes to run the rule over no less than 11 TV races on behalf of Betfred and GDC Gambling.com. So we're going to jump straight in. Tanya, we began with you for the intros. We'll begin with you, if we may, for the 1:30 at Aintree, where later in the day we're going to see that spectacular sight over the big Grand National fences. But at 1:30 on the box, we're going to see a tricky per temps qualifier.
Yeah, we love these qualifiers. They give us a little pieces to the jigsaw puzzle in the fact that it's more about the qualifying than trying to sort of assess the winner. They give us an opportunity. There could be some value, and I'm looking towards Charles Burns as it happens. He's running Reverend Hubert here. He's had plenty of success, Charles, in the past at Aintree. I didn't think Reverend Hubert ran too badly in the Cesarewitch, and this is what you need at Aintree. You need speed, especially with there's no rain about at all. It's good ground at Aintree. It's been very, very quick. Reverend Hubert had come from the chasing. He'd been chasing at a really good level, and for him to keep up pace in a Cesarewitch was very, very commendable. Obviously, it says 7th, but that's because all the shenanigans up front. It was more important. He was only beaten 6 lengths and started to get into the race in the closing stages. And that's what you'll need to do. You need to manoeuvre very quickly into the speed and the tempo of this Pertemps qualifier. Perhaps you're looking towards the top of the market with Guard the Moon and Harbour Lake. They've got every chance. Guard the Moon's got no weight at all. Reverend Hubert's got chunks and chunks of weight. Quite rightly so because of his ability, not over the bigger obstacles, but the smaller ones as well. But because of that run and the value price he is, I'm going for him in the 1:30. He's just appeals.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tans, thank you, because that is a compelling cocktail. Charles Burns and Sean Bowen. Wowee.
Yes, brilliant,
what a trainer-jockey combination that is. And, of course, these prices are subject to fluctuation. But at the time we're recording, looking ahead to the weekend racing, apparently 5-1 with Betfred, Reverend Hubert. That's the start of the 1:30. We move on to the 2:05. That's a 2 mile 0 to 130 handicap chase. This one over the regulation fences. Gary, this one's tricky enough as well.
Yeah, look, it's a very, very tricky race. I'm probably going to be born on just side with Imperial Saint, the Fav. He's probably a fortunate winner of a course distance 2 weeks ago. I think he was just getting run out of it by the horse that ran out. But he's progressive. He's open to plenty of improvement in this discipline, and he's just due for me. I wouldn't be strong on him at the price now, but he looks the most likely winner for me.
Yeah, at the time, again, we're recording 15-8 with Fred. Is the price about Imperial Saint for the Hobbs stable. Joe, before we come to you to start off with that 240, anything to add on that 205, or are you with Gary in terms of Imperial Saint at front of the market?
No, I'm going to go against Gary. I really like Hunter Legend there for Phoenicia Williams. Now, he didn't win over hurdles, but he's taken really well to fences. He's won his last two. On both of them occasions, actually, watching the race, you could argue that he looked beat at a certain stage in the race. But he was really impressive at Bangor, coming back really strong. I think he's got a lot more to come. And with the favourite, I thought he was quite fortunate to win last time. The movie like Mini hit the front, looked like it was going to win, and then refused at the last. I worry about his attitude a little bit, and I just think he's a bit too short. Whereas I think this Hunter Legend is really genuine type, and I think it'll be hitting the line hard.
Comments there that apply to me in various guises. Generally looks beat and worried about his attitude. We'll have no attitude when it comes to applying ourselves to the 240. That is, of course, over the big fences. The journey, the curtailed shorter race over the Grand Sefton. But it makes for a great sight because, of course, there's plenty of pace on in the Grand Sefton. Joe Norris, if you were picking one of these out and recommending them on your own platform, who would it be and why?
I'm not sure I'd pick just one because I think I'd want to back two in this because it's so competitive. I do like Sure Touch for Ollie Murphy. I know he's targeted this horse at the race. It obviously won the Summer Plate. It's gone up a bit in the weight now, but it's on a 5-timer over fences. He's come out and said it's been trained for the race. His jumping's a really big asset. I also read that he scored it over a national style fence, which I always like to hear. I think if he gets a clean round of jumping, I think he'd be right in the mix. He's around sort of 7-1, I think. And then the other one, just going to touch on it quick, Outlaw Peter, I think has got more to come. Obviously, the Yard won this race before with like Warriors Town, As the Me. He's another one that looks to be going the right way. He got beaten Sandown, but bumped into a good horse of Phoenicia Williams at Martyr, who's since won that valuable Premier Handicap at Ascot. So I think the form's working out. I'll take them two against the field.
Good stuff. So Sure Touch currently 13-2 with Fred. Outlaw Peter 15-2. Before, and I should stress that this is a unique programme because as we head into the deep midwinter with these Racehour weekend previews, today's one of the unusual days where we've got both a medley, a cocktail, if you will, of jumps, racing and flat. So in a second, we're going to spin across to Doncaster on November Handicap Day. I will just quickly say, Gary, Tans, either of you two got anything to add or to contradict Joe there with Sure Touch and Outlaw Peter in the Grand Sefton?
All I will say is when you're assessing a race now over the national fences, there isn't the necessity to have form over it. And the fences aren't what they are, so don't sort of feel overwhelmed by all the we're jumping over the big fences. Obviously, it helps. But just to say, 8 of the 21 winners of this race were having their first go over the bigger obstacles. So that's key for you all. And also in this race, 8 of the 21 winners had no more than one race prior. So don't let the race phase you at all. Certainly bear that in mind. And I like... it could be a very grey day everywhere, Tom. That gives you a clue of what I might be going for at a certain place in Wincanton. But I think King Turgeon's got a chance off the back of that Chepstow run. I just ask everyone if they can, if they've got the opportunity to watch the race again, listen to David Fitzgerald's commentary, but watch the jumping of King Turgeon and watch the size of him, because he will make these look like brush hurdles if all goes right. I mean, he's just devoured those Chepstow fences. He'll love it round here if all goes right.
Yeah, that's the truth. £7 penalty after that Chepstow win for King Turgeon. Gary, anything to throw further into the mix with the Grand Sefton?
I'll be with Tanya. I'm all over King Turgeon. That was just exceptional around the jump at the last day at Chepstow. Now he's running out of handicap, but he's just one I want to keep on side. Like he'll love it around here. As Tanya said, he'll be a sight to behold, jumping up at these fences. He'll just he'll glide around, win as he likes, easy money.
Well, we're going to be asking you three for a nap of the day towards the end of the programme. Betfred might even be boosting one or two of them if we're lucky. We'll display those via the Racehour Twitter handle. But in the meantime, Gary, stay with me because we will go from the sublime Aintree fences to the speed of Doncaster, the 120, the listed Wentworth Stakes. 6 furlongs the journey, fair size field. We've got double figure runners. Where amongst this bundle of speed is the winner going to come from?
I like to look at 10 Bob Tony here. So we've just started the season. He won a decent Newmarket race before he took a pop at the Guineas where he ran down the field. Then he sent up to Germany. Probably a bit unlucky not to get a bit closer. He finished 4th, and then again he was unlucky at Longchamps. He just got hemmed in on the rail and got out late, chasing down Top Gear. It was a decent French horse. If I give the last run, and I think just a drop down and trip from could see him bounce back. I think he's looking for this sort of test in this ground. So 10 Bob Tony's a bit of a price as well. So that's where my money's gone.
He really is. Good man, Gary. Yeah, currently, as we're recording, 8.5 to 1, 17 to 2 is the price. If you shop with Fred about Ed Walker's 10 Bob Tony. Tanya, are you 10 Bob, or have you got something else to entertain us with in the listed Wentworth? 120 Doncaster. This race.
I was really intrigued by the manoeuvre by Ed Walker to drop this down. This is a Group 2/Group 1 performer. I'd watched his few races again, and perhaps he needs this kind of speed. The only other one, obviously, the favourite Room Service, seems to get lost early doors in the races, as proved by I can forgive the York October Run, where it was drawn. It's drawn no good, hideous draw. It got lost in the Air Gold Cup as well. After 3 furlongs, was still last, and that's your race over. Unless you've got wings, you're not going to come from behind to win an Air Gold Cup against Lethal Levi. So 10 Bob Tony, the way it travels and the size of his stride is ideal. It just needs to get on the bridle as soon as they come out the stores, and I'd be a 10 Bob Tony person as well.
Well, I wonder, is there a little irony to the fact that those of you who work through ratings will notice that on the official handicappers figures, the 2 horses mentioned by our punditry team here on the Racehour Weekend Preview are joint top rated on a figure of 109. So I wonder, is that no coincidence? We'll see how it plays out. Joe, don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. I promise. You're in from the cold on the EBF Gillies Fillies Stakes. Listed race, 3:10 over a mile and a quarter. Again, good field size, 12 runners at the end of the flat season. Where, in a tricky puzzle, is the winner going to come from, Joe Norris?
I sort of looked at this race, and the front pair have got a bit to prove for me. I thought Danielle probably should have won the last day. When I first started looking at this race, actually, the predicted price was going to be like 7 to 4, and I just thought that was too short. She is about 9 to 4. But I'm in the mindset now that I'm taking her on. And the one that I sort of want to back is Treasure. I think at 8 to 1. Now she won impressively on debut as a 2-year-old. Looked really strong at the line. Then after that, she was sort of highly tried. They pitched her in the Oaks trial at Lingfield, and then she ran in the Oaks itself and just ran no sort of race. Obviously, I think she needs softer ground, and she's going to get that here. If you look at her Royal Ascot run, she got really badly outpaced, just could never get involved. So I think conditions are ideal here. And I think she's good value at 8 to 1. I think obviously Beckett is absolutely flying. He's got Albany as well, and that's who I put forward as the danger. The favourite, second favourite, Diamond Rain, obviously completely blew out in the Ribblesdale, and I just think there's enough to prove there at the prices. So I think I want to have an each way bet in this. So Treasure's the one for me.
Treasure and each way price for Joe in the 3:10 there at Doncaster. Gary, you're going to love me for this because there's a mere 23 maximum field for the last big, significant, major prize of the flat season spread across the track at Doncaster. It's never easy, but this looks particularly difficult. Give us 1 or 2 names out of this absolute mixture of talent, exposure, some younger legs stepping forward, informed stables, horses travelling long distances. How on earth do you solve the riddle, which is the November handicap?
Yeah, like if you want your head wrecked, it's probably trying to dissect this race and find a winner. But I got to be siding with, it's probably not for everyone now, stress-free. You are going to be a hostage to fortune with his running style. But I just think there's a big pot in him. Jamie Spencer takes the ride again. He was a massive eye catcher last time. He just ran into the dead alleys the whole way up the straight. I mean, eventually switched him out. He absolutely flew home. He travelled really strong, which I think you need in this race. And he does fine for pressure. Once he comes off the bridle, like I said, he's going to need to get plenty of luck, get the brakes and running. Spencer's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's the right man for this sort of ride, I think. And in a very open race, I think it's very hard to see him out of frame. He'll come there travelling, he'll pick up, and once he gets his brakes, he's going to be bang there to finish.
Ice in the veins, Jamie Spencer. Fred will currently lay you 11-1 about Gary's selection. Stress Free, who is number 8 on the race card in the November handicap. Tanya, November handicap time. You and I have been there in that November handicap day, Doncaster betting ring. A time or two. What an occasion it is. What wins?
The last 10 winners have all been 10-1 or under. It's about to change. We're going from Plumpton to winning the November handicap, Tom. That's what we're going. We're going from Plumpton.
I like it already. Tell us.
Yeah. I mean, last year it was one as it happened by one smooth operator. What a wonderful time of things Brian Ellison's had with that horse. But this year, I'm going for a massive outsider, and I was pleased to see that the stable had a winner yesterday. That is of Gary and Josh Moore. They have a couple in the race. Yes, I grant you Miller's Spirit is more towards the top of the market, but I'm looking towards the bottom of the market for a little bit of each way value on Qatari, because back in February...
Jason Watson.
Yeah, back in February he was going around over the hurdles at Plumpton, and then a couple of months later, I suppose he surprised everyone going to Windsor and won at 18-1 at Windsor. And then since then, what a wonderful time of things they've had. They went to Salisbury and won by a wide margin. And then also they've been to Ascot and not really surprised everyone, but won a nice little handicap at Ascot. Then went to Epsom on Derby Day, only to finish 5th. They were favourite that day behind Relentless Voyager. Since then, we've had 2 runs. I can... I live with them. They would be on deep, heavy ground. But today, drawn stall 22 in the November handicap. That is very, very helpful. Very helpful. You need to be in a high number. And I think an ideal horse which you can manoeuvre in the pack and hopefully come through late. Big price each way. Qatari and Jason Watson.
Absolutely love this. High number in the draw. High number stall. Low number in the handicap. He snuck in number 20 of 23, featherweight 8 stone, and what arguably the best dual purpose stable in the land. Love it, Tanya. Number 20 Qatari, who again, these prices are of course subject to fluctuation a little way out from the race, but our sponsors Betfred currently have priced up Qatari 28-1. Joe Norris, can you tip a 28-1 outsider, or would you dare to try and better Tanya? She's a master at this, but you're pretty good yourself. What do you like?
No, I can't get anywhere near that, I'm afraid. But I do agree with the reasoning with the draw, because that's how I started my process. 17 of the last 20 winners were drawn 9 or higher. So there were sort of 3 that made my shortlist. I ended up coming down on Master Builder. I just think back down to a 1.5, I think will really suit him. He got beat by Minstrel Knight the last day, but that horse sort of edged across him. He really hesitated when he came across. He lost sort of 2-3 lengths and then sort of kept on. But I think the drop back in trip will help him. And then the other 2 that I just thought were lively was Insanity. I thought you shouldn't judge him too harshly on that York run. And he's been freshened up. I think he could go well at a price. And Flash Bardot. But Flash Bardot is a bit of a bridal merchant, so it probably looked like he's going to win it and then just sort of run on. But yeah, she could be quite a big price.
Alan King's Insanity and Flash Bardot for Jack Channon and David Probert. At the time we're talking, both of those with Fred of 14-1. Now, team, thank you very much thus far on the Racehour weekend preview. It's a long way from Doncaster on the Flat to the Cheltenham Festival, but will we get a clue or two at Wincanton over the sticks? I love this place. There's just something very, very earthy, autumnal. The real jumps is back when we get to Wetherby, when we get to Haydock, when we get to Cheltenham next weekend, 3 days. But there's something very special about going for a, Tanya, you know this, a slice of the old venison pie down in Somerset, just outside Wincanton, some of the nicest places you can ever go to. As a race day, I'm talking about now, in terms of the local hospitality, places to stay, the pubs to go to, people seeing each other at events like this. Brilliant. It is absolutely bedrock jumping territory. As I say, will we get a Cheltenham clue or two? Probably not in the 109, but happily, for all that this is a relatively, pedestrian, I would say, conditional jockey's handicap chase, good on ITV, because they're giving the young riders their couple of minutes in the sunshine by televising this at the front of their broadcast. Tedley looked very slick, winning at Wetherby and at Utox to the time before. Gary, if you were teeing up one of these, would you go with the informed hat-trick seeker Tedley, or do you like something else?
You go.
Good stuff. We will dwell no further. Tedley did look really good, I have to say. He beat one of my families in Utox, who isn't a slow coach, and then he was even better. Cruised to the front last weekend at Wetherby. So he looks a good one, and he's banging form. Well done, young Jamie Brace, taking his opportunity there last weekend. Keeps the ride, rightly so. It gets a lot harder, Joe, when we spin onto the Mares Handicap Hurdle, 145, 14 runners down there in the West Country. Where's this going?
So a lot of my bets on Saturday are going to revolve around Paul Nicholls bouncing back to form, and I'm going to take a chance on Larchmont Lass. Now she's run at this track twice, which has resulted in a close second, which was in a bumper, and then she was an impressive winner over course and distance over hurdles at the start of the year. She's been quite highly tried, I think. She sort of ran well at Newbury, just made a few too many mistakes to get seriously involved there. But she's had a wind up since, back down in trip and back at this venue. Also £2 lower. I think the price around 7-1 looks right. Pretending looks likely to go favourite, but it's gone up £6. I think this is probably a bit of a stronger race. At a massive price, I think Space Voyage could go well. This looks her optimum trip, but she does lack a run, so that's the only negative.
Space Voyage lively outsider at 16-1. Tanya, I can remember, I think it was maybe 2008, getting told off by our boss Andrew Franklin, because you and I stood there in icy conditions at Wincanton, bleak midwinter. It might have been Kingwell Day. I don't think it was this thing. And he told us off for moaning on air, live on Channel 4, about how cold it was. Yes. But they do say it's one of the coldest places in the universe, Wincanton. Probably not this weekend when the temperature is relatively mild. But you know what I'm talking about. What you need is a winner to warm you up a little bit. Anything else in that 145 before we spin on to the graded race, the Rising Stars?
I would say it could be an excellent day for conditional Callum Pritchard. He's got some really big rides, and perhaps deservedly so. So with that in mind, Mermaid's Cave must come into consideration here for James Owen, a man that at the moment is having an almighty strike rate, which everyone can see, whether it be flat or over jumps. And Mermaid's Cave ran a lovely race in a mare's hurdle at Bangor back only a few days ago, actually, and comes out here pretty quickly again. It's off Mermaid's Cave's got plenty of wins to the name already, very experienced, can suit running around here at Wincanton and off such a low weight, really, with Callum Pritchard aboard. I would put Mermaid's Cave right into this contest, and the market has done as well. It's got, as much as anything, I sense it's given the respect of the trainer as the horse, because he was successful, I think, yesterday again.
Yeah, well, he is literally flying, isn't he, James Owen? What an impact he's making. And what an impact. Stick with me, Tanya, because 7-1, by the way.
Lovely.
Selection, all those prices subject to change. We move on. We talked about Cheltenham and the potential for early season clues. Yes, it's 4 months away, but of course, we're all looking in one direction. 2:23 Wincanton, 2.5 miles the journey. They are notoriously big fences. They do take some jumping at Wincanton. These young horses brimming with potential, top stables, and with respect, and I do mean this with respect, because for all that we talk here about Skelton, Nicholls, Paulding, at the bottom of the card, there is Soul Icon, trained by a young man, Kieran Burke, and he is still, relatively speaking, a young man who has an amazing down the season strike rate. This bloke places them with laser focus and precision. Never rule out, irrespective of price, a Kieran Burke runner. I'm here to introduce, not to tip. So disagree with me, Tanya, or will you? What about the 223, the Rising Stars?
Oh, it's a nice performer, Soul Icon, and everyone obviously looking at the time will be keeping an eye on how Soul Icon performs in regards to Sure Touch about 15 or so minutes later. And what this is, normally we get a lopsided contest in this race. It's not lopsided, it's wide open and any of them can win it. As regard Paul Nicholls, he's won this race 11 times. If you're thinking of Paul Nicholls as regard this day, he's only drawn a blank on this day once since 2003. That was in 2005, and generally his average, he has at least 3 winners on the day, either at Wincanton or Aintree mixed up. That gives you a clue. As for Soul Icon, well, Insurrection and Boomborn have met each other already. I think perhaps in finding the winner of this race, you look at Soul Icon or indeed Handstands. Now, this Handstands is a very, very nice horse. I just worry about the track. I'd prefer a Handstands at Cheltenham rather than the speed at Wincanton. We haven't got the choice of that. Handstands for me is going to cause the way that Handstands travels, and he'll gain links at every fence, and Ben Pauling and certainly Ben Jones are doing fine things. Last season, Handstands ran really well when he won at Huntingdon. I mean, he was taking our breath away, was coming to the tips of our tongues as one of the chances against Ballyburn at the Cheltenham Festival. Obviously, that didn't materialise because Ballyburn's is a machine. He seems to have 6 legs, bless it. So I'm going to go with Handstands going over the bigger obstacles, potentially with Soul Icon, but I do totally respect. I'm not taking anything away from Paul Nicholls. You fully expect him to rack up at least 3 on on this weekend, because that's just how the stats have proved.
Well, gang, listen, 2 more very, very important prizes to go, about 3 minutes to cover them off. Tanya there with Handstands, likely to be favourite for the 2 bets, Pauling and Jones. Gary, I'm going to come to you. Just a small field, a very small field now with the omission of Forever William. Just the 3 of them in the elite hurdle, the grade 2 speed test here on this flat right-handed track. Will it be a repeat for the penalised Rubo, last year's winner, already successful at Kempton a couple of weeks ago? Will it be a winner for Ireland, or will it be a winner for young Harry Derham? Tricky trio for the elite.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a massive betting race for me now, but was forced to have a go just purely at the prices. It'd be Brentford Hope. I still think there's a bit more left in him. He ran well chasing home Daddy Longlegs at Punchestown. Lack of race fitness, but he's getting £6 from the 5, and that might just swing it for him, but won't be confident on it. So it's a watch and brief probably, but Brentford Hope if I'm getting a free bet off someone.
Well, listen, we can all live in hope. You're definitely going to get a free nap in about a minute's time, so concentrate the mind on that. While Joe Norris of Get Your Tips Out tells us with authority what wins. We'd all like a bottle or 2 of Badger beer, I'm sure, if we can pick the winner of the 3:30 handicap chase, 10 runners. This one, well, I remember exactly 10 years ago, the race being taken away on a technicality from Neil Mulholland. He runs the hat-trick seeker, Lord Accord. Good mate of mine, Neil. Very good trainer. But forget that. Joe Norris, what wins the Badger beer?
Yeah, so I backed Lord Accord the last day, but he got sort of a soft lead and he just kept grinding it out. I think he might get taken on from the front here. I'm going to stick with the theme of the day and just keep backing these Nicholls horses because I think he's going to bounce back, and I think this could be the day. And Mufasa, I think, could be a good bet. Now, obviously, he was pulled up at air when we last saw him, but he got hampered early on and he's just never going then. He's come back down the weights a little bit. He obviously lacks a run, but I think this track will suit him. And over this trip on better ground, all pluses. I mean, he ran behind sort of Broadway Boy, which is really good form. He beat Captain Morgs at Huntingdon. I think he could be a good bet around 5-1.
Well, it's going to be a great sight, this Badger beer, over the big fences at Wincanton, on a day where we also see them over the Grand National fences in the Grand Sefton at Aintree. All action that the great Alistair Down would have thoroughly approved of. We lost him last week. We obviously will miss him dearly, but these are the kind of days that Alistair, no less, would have absolutely relished. And harnessing that spirit, gang, with thanks once again to our sponsors, Betfred and Gambling.com, I'm going to ask you to sign off with a nap selection for this weekend's racing. Tanya, we introduced you first. I'll ask you for a nap first, if I may, please.
205 Aintree, Coast Guard Station. Excellent run at Cheltenham last time. Shouldn't have been so close as he was. He travels really, really quickly. He goes to a very, very quick track. I mean, where he was at Cheltenham, he was behind Calico fourth. Watch the race again. He was sort of hunting them down. And this, I've been waiting to see when he comes out next. And here we are, 205 at Aintree Coast Guard Station. Henry Oliver, who's won the race 3 times previously.
Coast Guard Station, currently a 4-1 shot with our sponsors, Betfred. Gary, same question to you, please. Weekend nap and why?
So it's the first podcast back, so we'll try and knock it out of the park, and we'll go with the hardest race of the weekend, and we're going November Handicap, stress-free on the Spencer. He'll be the nap today.
Good stuff. No stress from Gary. Last but not least, get your tips up. Joe Norris, tell us.
Well, I'm a bit gutted because I'm going against Tanya now, but if I knew that was a nap, I don't know I'd have put this up. But I do really like this Hunter Legend. Now, he's probably going to stay further in time, so I hope he don't get outpaced. But it's a long enough run away from the last. The Yard won it last year with Jello, and I think this horse can really improve again. Obviously, the ground's quicker than he has been facing, but I look back, he's run well on good ground before. He just got beaten narrowly. So I think he could go really well. I think 4-1's a good price.
Let's hope that proves to be true. Folks, thank you for watching the Racehour Weekend Preview. Big thanks to our sponsors, both Betfred and Gambling.com. And of course, not only from myself, but from Joe, from Gary, and from Tanya. Good luck with your bets this weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back in the same space in a week's time. Bye-bye.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounding Corto Star